Hi, welcome back. Hope Zvara here with your 10-week mini ball series. So today is week 9. So we'll be building off of everything that we've been working on for the past 8 weeks. And hopefully you've been doing your homework and getting to your mat as many times a week as you can. So today, again, you'll need the prop of the mini ball, and you also will need those discs. So remember, if you don't have the discs, feel free to use towels on a hardwood floor, paper plates on the carpet, and use your modifications. And if at any time you feel like it's too much, just back off and join us when you're ready. I can't wait to see you on the mat. Let's begin. So Lainey's going to start out with our warm-up today again, and she's going to start with our Warrior 3 tilt. So standing in neutral, exhale, tip your body forward, leg is strong, knee can be slightly bent. Really work to keep the hips squared down. Inhale, tip yourself back up. Nice job. So we're going to do 3 on each side. Exhale, tipping, keep the floating hips squared down. And then inhale, coming back up. Really notice the spread of that bottom foot. Exhale, no folding in the torso. And then inhale, coming back up. Great job. Switching feet, keep the hips in neutral. And again, exhale, pelvic core is strong. Floating hip is squared down. And then slowly rising back up. 2 more. And then slowly bringing yourself back up. Great job. Next one, we're going to work with flexion and extension. So using our chair pose, exhale, sit back into your hips and heels. Now pelvic core is strong. Wave your pelvis forward. Inhale, allow the ball to extend up and back. Exhale, sit back into your hips, engage your pelvic floor, and then inhale, hip flexors come forward, rising up. Nice. 3 more. So as you work into that extension, if your hip flexors are really tight, keep your knees modestly bent, and that will allow you to have greater range of motion. Move with your breath, no rounding in the spine. And then after your last one, great job. We're going to move into now a nice little rolling side bend. Feet are parallel, hips distance. I'm sorry, not hips distance. About an A-frame, pelvic neutral. Pelvic floor is strong. Inhale, kick the hips out as you roll the top arm. And then draw with a bent elbow, bring yourself back up. Inhale. Exhale, slide the arm across the head. Nice. Inhale. Exhale, bring yourself back up. Nice. Really being mindful to not fold in the hips. So try to keep the front of your pelvis as open towards Lainey as you can, so the true side body is gaining space and length. Press down through the opposing foot as you reach through the upper arm. No shoulder tension. So we'll do 5 and 5. So 1 more here. Breathe into your top lung. Exhale, strong obliques. Bring it back up. And now switch the ball to the opposite side. Starting with a bent elbow, comb through the side of the hair. Reach, honor your top shoulder. Exhale, lift with your oblique when you come back up. So 4 more, trying to be mindful that the oblique lifts you and not your shoulder or arm muscles. Great job. Exhale, coming back up. And so finishing out with your 5. Beautiful. We're going to transition to the discs now for a nice little sliding lunge. So with 1 disc underneath your foot, keeping neutral pelvis, on the inhalation, slide your right leg back, and then exhale, engage your inner thighs, pull straight up through the top of the head. Great. Inhale, sliding back. Keep the right outer hip pressing forward, and then exhaling as you come forward, come straight up. So 3 more for a total of 5. Really feeling the stretch through the hip socket, keeping your pelvis as vertical as you can, so nice neutral. And then once you've done your 5, you're going to switch to the other foot. Ball of the foot at the center of the disc. Inhale, sliding back, and exhale, coming up. So 5 rounds. When we work to keep the hips square, you're also going to notice more hamstring and lower glute on the base leg. So you're really trying to focus on recruiting those lower leg muscles to help with balance and stability. Nice work. Just be consistent. Use your breath. Excellent. We're going to bring ourselves down to tabletop now and place the ball underneath the knee. So if you remember that stretching table that we had done a while back, we're going to be working with that again. So neutral pelvis, the front of your hip bones are tipped up into your core. The bottom of the rib cage is drawn up and into your core. Nice. Now slowly slide your free leg back. Big toe barely touches the floor. And now as you lift your opposite arm, try not to make a shift happen in your body. So arm can come alongside the ear like Lainey, or you can also extend your arm to T. So use what's available and what works best for you. We're going to try for 5 breaths. At any one point, the back leg can come off the floor, as long as you can keep your hips from sinking towards the mat. So again, extension in that hip socket. Inhaling through the nose, exhale, deep co-contraction. A good practice for stability. Slowly bringing your limbs down, and then switching the ball to the opposite side. Great job. So ball goes under the knee. You can roll the right toes under like a little kickstand. Hips are level, rib cage is drawn up. Back body is broad. Inhale, sneak the left leg back. And then as you take your right arm off the floor, there should be no shift into your left shoulder socket. If you're noticing a shift, you're using your joint and not your core. Leg comes off the floor only if your body gives you permission. 5 breaths. Can I be stable? If I can remain stable, then I can be mobile. We have to start working the body from the inside out. Keep breathing. Now slowly lower your limbs down. Take your time. Great job. We're going to sneak in a 2-to-1 ratio here. So go back to your weaker side. This is a great practice for your obliques, both internal and external obliques. So really trying to pay attention to that stability here. All right, neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Sneak the leg back. Steadily take the arm off the floor. So notice how Lainey kind of combed her arm through her hair if she was going forward. That's going to help keep the shoulder plugged back. Otherwise, out to T. Or maybe keeping the arm down on the floor altogether, depending. Great. Slowly drop it down. Nice work. Take the knees wide. Just sit back onto the heels for a moment. Give yourself a breath. Excellent. Rising back up, table. This time the ball is going to go between the knees and you're going to need a disc. So place the disc or your paper plate or your towel underneath both feet so you have both feet on one disc. Wrists under shoulders. Now come into a hovering table. Hug on your ball. Keep your upper body from your head to your tail totally in place so that tabletop's not going to change. When you're ready, inhale, slide the legs out to plank. Hug on your green ball. Exhale, pelvic floor engages, slide the legs back into table. Let's do this 4 more times. Inhale. And then exhale, as long as you can keep nice and steady, you can try bringing those knees in a little closer, just like Lainey is. Great job. No saggy body parts, so keeping the head floating in neutral and keeping your pelvis in neutral, really important. Nice job. Let's just try to do 1 more, Lainey, for good measure. Exhale, bring it in. Steady, steady, steady. Great job. Let's finish it out. Slide it back into plank. And then you can drop the knees, sit back onto your heels. Give yourself a good breath here as we prepare for a little forearm plank work. So coming up to tabletop. So now we're going to drop down onto the forearms. And so we want to make sure that if you measure, take one fist to the opposite elbow, you're going to have about a shoulder's distance, and that's just kind of a nice gauge. No making that triangle with the arms. We want to keep that open between the palms to keep the chest open. Excellent. So now we're going to be working with a forearm plank, ball between the thighs. When you're ready, slide it back into plank. Perfect. Reiterate that your front hip bones are tipped up into your core, and there's nice length through your back body. Perfect. All right, now hugging on your green ball, unroll your right toes and try to keep your right leg hovering at left ankle level. If this is too much, you're going to drop the opposite knee to the floor without the ball and hover the leg. Let's see if we can go 3 more breaths, Lainey, for a total of 5. Great. All right, core is strong. Hug the ball. Here we go. Uncurl the opposite toes. That foot's going to float off the floor just a few inches. Easy to go high, hard to stay low. 5 breaths. Hug on the ball. Excellent. Drop the knees. Take a seat back. Take a breath. Open up your lower back. Make an effort to really draw your front core in to help open the kidneys and the lower lumbar. Great. We're back into forearm plank for our foot push. I always imagine running with the balls of the feet, and you can keep that ball right between the knees. Perfect. And so you'll need 2 discs for this one. When you're ready, slide it back. And this is a lot of work for the feet. We are in shoes all day, so this is a great practice. So we're just going to start out by pushing one foot back and then the other. So you can start nice and slow as you need to, and we're going to go for about 30 seconds. So inhaling and exhaling, keep your hips level and keep your back body nice and broad. Press down through the entire forearm, not just the weight in the elbow, but keep weight from your elbow to your pinky finger. Good. Keep breathing. 15 more counts. Let's go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop it and sit back. Take a breath. We're just going to take 2 breaths here. All right, last forearm plank. You're going to need 1 disc at a time, no ball this time. And we're going to work with an open and close. So you're only able to move as far as your hip has range. So as Lainey steps back, her right foot is on the disc. Inhale, she's going to slide her right leg out to the right, and then exhale, engage, and bring her leg back together. So 10 times. As Lainey works with this, she's working to keep her pelvis nice and steady and stable. She's not torquing her hips. So maybe this next one, Lainey, you can just kind of really torque your hips without hurting yourself. You can kind of see how she really moved her pelvis in order to make that action happen. So if you're a little bit less flexible, you're not going to be able to go as far, and that's okay. So imagine squeezing an orange between the thighs as you bring that back to center. And then when you're ready, you're going to switch. And if 10 is too much, do 5, do 7, but whatever you choose to do, do them well. Inhale, open. Exhale, hug on the pelvic floor and inner thighs. Nice. Exhale, squeeze, engage. Exhale. Hips stay level and neutral. So we're also working with some hip flexibility here as we draw the leg open and closed. Nice job. Take a little stretch. If you'd like to, maybe try stretching your arms to the right and kick your hips to the left, so open your side body. And then you can repeat and do the same thing on the opposite side. Great job. All right, so now Lainey's going to turn herself around and slide that ball behind your back when she's ready. You'll need your discs. Excellent. All right, so our first is our nice little prep. Let's just get the pelvis tipped into a nice little support against the green ball. Relax your shoulders, keep your chest nice and open. All right, inhale. And now exhale. Let's just come back and hold for 5 breaths. So drop the body back to 45 degrees. Keep your sacrum kissing the ball. Arms come to any height as long as you can keep the length in the spine. And we'll just go 5 breaths here for just a little bit of some core prep work in this position. Perfect. And then exhale, bring yourself back up. All right, 2 options here. We're going to work with a lift and lower of the torso, and we're going to work with the legs either in a bent position, or you can slide the legs out straight and anchor them down into the floor. Either feet are flexed or you're reaching out through the balls of the feet, toes spread. Trying to keep the hip flexors from flaring. Just make sure that your body is nice and upright. All right, so nice little tilt into the green ball. Let's inhale here, ride the ball back. And then exhale, bring your trunk back up to a total upright position. Let's do this 10 times. So inhaling, coming back, sacrum kisses the ball. Exhale, bringing yourself back up. Perfect. So 8 more. If you find that this is too much, you can also cross the arms into what I call a genie style arm. And this will just kind of help eliminate any strain in the neck. Chin stays down. We're never needing to look at the ceiling. Make sure that your core is in control and you're not bouncing off of the ball. Big difference. Nice. Perfect. All right, now knees are going to bend, and we're going to work with that oblique rollback. So if you remember from the last week, we worked with a disc. So with the disc here now, remember, you're turning towards the bent knee. So just sometimes we have to wrap our brain around what actually is going to happen in the movement. So Lainey's going to just do one round of a quick demo. So hold here now, Lainey, and you're going to notice that her right leg is extended, but she's turning to the left. And then exhale, bringing everything back to center. Her body still stays at 45. So let's go to the same side 5 times. So let's let you get set up here. All right. So now tilt the pelvis. Core is strong. Inhale, ride the ball back. Stay at 45. Inhale, slide the leg, reach the arm, turn the head. Exhale, back to center. 4 more. As you work with this oblique pull, pay very close attention that the lower body stays square. So when you turn, it's actually a spinal rotation, not just your hips kind of rocking side to side. So we can really hone in and localize and say, yes, this is my internal and external oblique. Right after you've done those 5, here we go. We're going to go right back over to the opposite side. So tip the pelvis, keep the heart open. Inhale, reach back, pull back, look back, slide the leg. Exhale, bring it back to center. Nice. Inhale, turn your heart. Exhale. Perfect. Inhale and exhale. So finishing up on this side, then you're going to stay here and go back to your weaker side. So if you're on your weaker side, you're going to do another 5. If not, you're going to switch the disc to the other heel and go back to that other side. If you can't do 5, do 3, do 2, do 1. But whatever you choose to do, do it well. Great. Let's just rest over the thighs, a little seated child. Breathe into your back body. And then we'll be transitioning down into a supine position with the ball underneath the sacrum. Perfect. So once the ball is underneath the sacrum, we're going to start with those circles. So Lainey has her right leg lifted, and remember again, we're going to try to move from the hip. So we've been working with this bent knee variation, and as long as your hamstrings have the capacity for it, you could easily extend this leg, reaching through the ball of the foot. So she's going to actually extend, pull her toes wide. If this is too much, you can also work with kind of an in-between with a slightly bent knee. So work your range. Just remember, more does not always equal more. So Lainey's going to pick her capacity, what she feels most appropriate with. And remember, though, the circle still comes from the hip socket. So it's like my arm moving in my shoulder versus taking my shoulder with. We'll start circling out to the side. Inhale out, exhale up and through center. Inhale out, exhale up and through center. So 3 more for a total of 5. And then you're going to reverse and move the opposite direction. You may find that depending on the depth of your hip socket, that a half circle is more appropriate, coming straight up the midline. If you have a deeper hip socket, you're going to notice your range isn't quite as big. Perfect. So now you should have reversed the opposite direction. Really trying to keep your core and torso nice and strong. We want to move the leg, not the pelvis. Perfect. And then dropping that leg down, really mindful. Great job, Lainey. Choose your leg variation. If your knee is bent, just make sure again that you're not moving the lower leg, which sometimes mentally we have to kind of wrap our head around. All right, inhale to circle out, exhale, contract right up the center line. So really feel the bathroom muscles, those deep pelvic floor muscles, and your trunk muscles keeping you steady. As I just kind of feel on Lainey's torso, she's strong. She's not sucked in or overbearing, but she has good tone in her torso to keep her legs steady. So 5 circles in, 5 circles out. Awesome. And then after your 5th one, foot drops down. We're going to go and do 2-to-1 ratio. So which side was just a little bit less stable for you? I want you to go back to do that side. So again, 5 circles out, 5 circles in. If 5 is too much, cut it down. When we work 2-to-1 ratio, it doesn't have to be exact. We're just trying to give the lesser side a little bit more so we can bridge that gap as much as possible. Perfect. And you can see Lainey's working with kind of a mid-arm variation. Her elbows bent, or she could go up to the sky to really challenge her core, but you can tell it's like, ooh, not quite. This is a good place for her. Excellent. All right, so take a moment here again, just if you need to readjust the green ball. Pelvis is in neutral. Perfect. All right, so now core is nice and strong. Slowly lift both legs up to a tabletop. If this is still currently too much for any reason, I want you to lower one leg down as you work the opposite, and then you'll just switch it. So we're going to bring her into a nice tabletop, moving from the hip, not from the knee. Inhale, lower one leg down towards the floor, keeping a nice strong brace in the core. Exhale, like a fishing reel is inside your core, bring that leg up. We're going to work the same side simultaneously. Inhale, we'll do 5 rounds. So this is 4. Nice. Inhale, breathe into your side lungs. This is 3. Exhale, right up through the deep core. Awesome. You should feel strong, but not stagnant or real stiff. After your 5, you're going to switch and do the opposite side. Floating leg stays nice and steady, or again, remember your variation would be you have to drop this foot to the floor. You're still going to work your core amazingly strong, but you're working from a place that you're at, and I cannot stress that enough. And then after your 5th one, if you need a break, feel free, or we're going to go back to do that 2-to-1 ratio and go back to your weaker side. So now Lainey's going to go back over to her left side. And maybe you're just going to hold. Maybe you're going to do 1. Maybe you're only going to go halfway down. Lainey works with this movement quite a bit, so the floor is not too out of reach for her. Maybe you're going to only go halfway. You have to choose what your core can handle, not what your mind wants. And then after your 5th one, if you're going to 5, slowly lower the legs to the floor. Take a breath for yourself. Nice job. Awesome. All right, we're going to do a little core teaser here, and we're going to do double leg. So core is strong, lift it up. If this is too much, 1, hold and breathe. 2, move the legs an inch, or 3, go back to single leg. You have always options. So inhale, legs drop away a few inches. Let's go about halfway. And then exhale, like a crank inside your core, bring the legs back up. So we'll try for 5. When you come back up, make sure that you're using inner core strength, not just like a momentum to try to spring your legs back to center. If you're getting any rectus pufus popping out of the abdominal muscles when you lower the legs, you're going too far. I promise you that is not something that you want to develop. You want to keep the core contained without sucking it in. So only go as far as you can keep strong core and relaxed shoulders. Nice job. Take a moment, let's just drop the knees into a bound angle or stretch it out. Either way works. Just to give yourself some space, you deserve it. Excellent. All right, so we're going to come back up. And last one here, we're going to work with the scissors. So bringing it to a tabletop. Now with a tabletop scissors, same thing, very similar to what we were doing before, except one leg would pull in and the opposite will pull out. So if Lainey would work with a bent knee scissors, she's going to look something kind of like this. Working with bent knees, she's still working her thighs or working from her hip socket. Now if she would come and work extended legs, she can spread the toes nice and wide as one leg drops down, she has to be able to bring the top leg using her own strength, in towards her. And then slowly coming back to center, and she's going to open it up again, working this leg towards her, and then bridging that gap. Perfect. So here we go. Let's try 5 rounds. You choose where you need to be. All right. So we're going to inhale, and then exhale. Perfect. Inhale to transition. Exhale to complete. Inhale to transition. Exhale to complete. Really think about it. It's not just about doing the movement, it's about becoming the movement. So there is length involved. As she's trying to bring this leg towards her, she's asking that hamstring to lengthen. Awesome. Let's see if we can maybe get one more round, one each side here. You're doing a great job. Work from where you're at. And then knees slowly come into the chest. Give yourself a nice hug. You can let the lower back stretch out, the glutes spread out. Nice work. Awesome. All right, kick your hips up off the ball, and we're going to come into bridging. So the ball now is going to go between the knees. And remember what we practiced or talked about the last couple of weeks is that aside from a yoga bridge, we're not tucking our heels tight up under the sit bones. We want to make sure that we have enough space so that when we lift into bridge, our lower back is not jammed. Lainey looks like she's in good alignment. Her feet are neutral with each other. Neutral pelvis. Deep breath in. Press into your feet. As you exhale, lift your hips. Now, they may only come a couple inches up off the floor. She has a great long line from her shoulder to her knee. That's what we're looking for. Hugging on the ball. When she takes one heel off the floor in just a second here, she's trying to minimize how much shift she feels into the opposite leg. So really pay attention to that. She's going to start out lifting your left leg. You're welcome to work with your left leg as well. So nice big breath in. Now barely kick your left heel up off the floor. I always think of this like a starter heel for a little girl to wear a high-heeled shoe, which she should not be wearing high-heeled shoes. It's not good for her, but it's kind of that height. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling. So we're going 5 breaths, Lainey. Once you've hit those 5 breaths, you and Lainey now are going to flex, just like she did right now, her left foot up off the floor. Her foot has not lifted any higher. Her thighs are parallel with each other. So we're just going small segments. After those 5 breaths now, let's extend the leg out. Reach out through the heel. Keep your thighs parallel. It almost feels like your left thigh is internally rotating. So we're keeping that hug nice and firm. Lower the leg down slowly. Great work. You should not have felt a big shift. Don't drop because we're going right to the opposite side. Right heel picks up. That thigh should not lift any higher. So as you take your right heel up, you actually have to push more into your left leg. And then after those 5 breaths, flex the foot. You can do that now. Inhaling through the nose and exhaling. Pelvic floor is strong and contracted. And now let's go for the gusto. Thighs are parallel. No external rotation. Press firmly through the base foot. Hips are nice and level. Keep breathing. 5 breaths. You can stay with Lainey. Drop the foot down slowly. Now lower the hips down. Give yourself a breath because we're going back to that weaker side 2-to-1 ratio. So here we go. Back up into bridge. Exhale. Hug on the ball. Now you choose your foot. Heel first. So inhaling through the nose and exhaling. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to do them all in a series. Keep breathing. Keep pressing into your base leg. Now flex the foot. You should feel hamstring and glute. Welcome to the back of your body. Nice job. Breathing is strong and breathing into the side body. Now leg extends. We're not going to the sky. We're going straight out from the hip socket. Keep with your breath. Nice work. Give that ball a little hug. Drop the foot down slow. Lower your hips down. You can remove the ball and drop the legs into a nice bound angle. Great work. So just feeling the openness of the hips. Relax your shoulders. If you feel more appropriate to bring the arms overhead, you're welcome to work that as well. Nice. Bring the legs together. All right, let's roll onto our side now for some oblique work. I'm going to have you scooch down to more in the middle if that's okay. There we go. Awesome. All right, so making sure that the ball is between the rib and the hip. We're not actually on the hip, so just ensure that you're in that right space. All right, ladies already chose the staggered foot position. As a reminder, the bottom leg or the back leg has to pull back, whereas the top leg comes forward, so that the middle of your hip is coming to the middle of the feet. Otherwise, you're going to be top heavy and you're going to be rolling all over the place. Perfect. Bottom elbow underneath the head. Oblique lifts you. Deep breath in. Just pull the elbow out from underneath. We're going 5 breaths here. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling. Once those 5 breaths, we're going to go into lift and lower. So no touching down. Obviously, if you need to, take a break if you need to. All right, one more good breath. Now we're lifting on the inhale. Hold it, exhale. Inhale, lower down. Hold, exhale. 4 more. Inhale, exhale, hold. Inhale, lower, exhale, hold. Take a break if you need to. Keep with your breath. Talk yourself through it. What am I doing? Hips stay anchored so you can really feel the oblique wall. Nice job. She's doing a great job of not pressing her head and keeping space on the top side of her neck. Stretch the top arm out. Pull lots of space into the top side body. You're doing a great job. Now we're going to work the leg. So come up onto your bottom forearm. Fingertips point towards you. Move your elbow in just a hair more. Perfect. So that when you push into your bottom forearm, the bottom rib is elevated. So you're feeling some oblique work. The ball is just there as a reminder. Legs are stacked and top heel is pulled off the bottom heel. So we have a slight forward rotation on the leg. So now when you're ready, inhale, lift the top leg. And exhale, squeeze the inner thighs together. I don't often like that word, but it works for this. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. Lainey only gets to lift her leg as high as she can keep her torso super steady and stable. So she should feel her obliques along with her outer hip and thigh as she lifts the leg. So we're going for 10. If you peer down at your leg, I'll be Lainey's eyes for her too. Her leg should be directly underneath her hip. Depending on what kind of misdevelopments you have, that leg may want to shoot forward. So bring it back. So we're going for 10. And then after that 10th one, we're going to come up to hip height and hold for a moment. Now mini 10 pulses. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Lower the leg down. Perfect. Now let's see if we can combine oblique and thigh. Drop down to the elbow. Now it doesn't have to be big. We're lifting equal. So if I have a stronger leg, I have to back off on my leg and vice versa. So they both can work kind of mirroring each other. Deep breath in. This time we're going to lift on the exhale though. Exhale, pick it up. Nice. Inhale, lower it down and hover. Exhale, pick it up. Inhale, lower down and hover. Exhale, pick it up. You're doing great. Inhale, lower down and hover. Minimal arm work. Exhale. Keep the foot flexed. I'm going to keep her leg from coming forward. Good. So we're not folding the body into a V position. I'm giving you some variations on breath work so you can see what works. Ultimately, when we contract the core, it should not be at the end of the day determined on whether we inhale or exhale, but in the beginning for most people it is. Good. Relax the top shoulder, no pushing the head. We're going for 10. 10 might be too much. You know the rule, you know the routine. 5 is fine, 7 is fine. Great. After your last one, stretch it out. Press through your top foot. You can bend the bottom knee if you need to, and really reach through your top arm. So again, lots of space. Breathe into your top lung as much as you can. Perfect. All right, Lainey's going to pick herself up and flip over. You can just roll over if you'd like to. So we'll move the square. Perfect. Again, ball gets set under the oblique. Hopefully these movements are getting easier for you and you're noticing the difference in your strength and your ability and maybe even your tone. Okay, scissor split the legs if necessary. Remember, we're not pushing the head. We're going to go into that oblique hover. So elbow pulls back. We're going to hold and breathe here. Inhale through the nose and exhale. Engage pelvic core. Pelvic floor muscles plus deep core. All right, we're going to go right into lift and lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. Don't rush it. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hold. Inhale, lower. Exhale, hold. You're doing great. 3 more. Notice how Lainey's keeping the space in her neck. The arm is working, but a progression is no arm. So you can kind of see how I need to make sure I'm still using my oblique more than I'm using my arm. And then after that last one, just going to lower it down. She can stretch it out if she needs to. You can as well. You're doing great. And then up to the forearm. Elbow sits under shoulder. So checkpoint that. Bring your elbow in just a little bit, Lainey. Perfect. Bottom oblique and rib are tucked up so you can feel both oblique walls working. Legs are directly beneath you. Pick the top heel off the bottom heel just so the leg is more neutral. All right, here we go. Inhale, lift the leg. Exhale, engage the thighs. So we're lifting on the inhale and exhale, engaging as you lower. So you can also remind your lower oblique when you lower the leg to kind of pick that up a little bit for just a little bit extra torso and core work. Bottom rib is elevated as well, so we're never really sitting in that bottom shoulder. Awesome. You should be feeling the side seam of your pant. So I do want to encourage you to flex the foot. Just stay with Lainey here, she'll keep track. She does a great job of it. Excellent. So we're trying to also focus here with the leg being parallel and neutral on that gluteus maximus, which is the lower rung of the glute. Now let's combine them together. Remember, this time we're going to lift on the exhale. So deep breath in, exhale, lift upper body and leg. Inhale, peel it down, hover or drop. Exhale, good. Inhale. So 8 more. If 8's too much, do 5. You might surprise yourself. Just take it one move at a time. Stay open in the front half of the body. So remember again, Lainey's not curling towards her legs. She's trying to stay very open. Looking good. Excellent. Stay with your breath. It feels fluid, not jerky. I'd rather have you lift an inch than lift 10 inches. Stretch it out. Try to make space between your rib and your hip. Nice job. Excellent. Bring yourself up. And guess what? We're going back into bridge pose. So you can roll onto your back again. All right, and now this time for bridge, you're going to need a disc. So I'm going to have Lainey bring your feet onto a disc, and you have 2 options here. You can stick a mini ball between the thighs, or your legs are going to have to work really hard to stay together. So either one is fine with me. You could use 2 discs as long as you feel like they're not going to be bumping into each other and kind of making more stress than what it's worth. Otherwise, your feet are going to be on the disc. But since your knees aren't together, your feet are going to kind of be on each end of the disc. So we're going to kind of open your feet up. No, bring your heels up and just open them apart. There we go. Awesome. So that the feet are kind of mimicking the same space of the knees. Well, we're working with a push-pull on the discs here. So deep breath in. Exhale, lift up into bridge pose. Excellent. All right, so here we go. Inhale, slide the heels out. Keep your hips level. Exhale, pull them back in. Huge hamstring work here. Inhale, slide it out. Exhale, keep your hips balancing like you have a cup of water here. Inhale, slide it out. This is not easy. Exhale. Good. Let's try 2 more. Inhale, slide it out. Exhale, bring it in. And again, inhale, slide it out. And exhale, bring it in. Slowly lower the hips down. Nice job. I'll take that ball. Feel free to give the knees a nice little hug. Great work. All right, let's roll over prone onto our belly. We'll start with the upper body. So I'm going to give Lainey a ball, and she's going to place that underneath her bust line on kind of the lower front ribs. Perfect. Pubis bone roots into the floor. Now, if you're very locked in the pelvis and you're struggling with rooting your pubis bone, try laying a folded hand towel underneath your hip bones, and that will give you that slight angle that will also help protect your lower back as you work your lower back. Great. All right, so Lainey's going to come down, kind of face into the floor, and arms are going to hover at shoulder level, palms face in or palms face down. So depending on what you feel most appropriate. My challenge for you here is to keep the pubis bone rooted, keep the legs anchored, no internal or external rotation, and when you lift, your trunk is going to lift, and your arms are just going to enhance the movement by pulling backwards, not down towards your hips, but up towards the ceiling. Let's see how it works. All right, deep breath in. Exhale, lift your trunk. Perfect. Inhale, lower down. Exhale, lift. She's feeling the erectors on her back body. We're going for 10. So if I would come behind her, and let's say her arms are pointing backwards, I can place my shins in front of her triceps so that her arms don't push back, but rather they pull up. So we're going to go this way. Excellent. This is great to help build better strength and tone in the upper trapezius, where for many people we're very overstretched and weak, as we build lower back and core strength. Nice. If your legs are flying up off the floor, it's a good sign and signal that you're still trying to use your lower body. Nice job, Lainey. Take a moment and breathe. Perfect. All right, so now we're going to remove the ball, and we're actually going to try this without the ball now. So we're going to see how well we've built good erector and spinal strength, as well as core tone. Legs are rooted. Eye line stays down towards the floor. So we're lifting from our trunk, not from our head. Deep breath in here. Exhale, lift. And then inhale, lower. Keep the legs rooted. Exhale, lift. And inhale, lower. Imagine trying to take your sternum off the floor. Let's see if we can do 10. Nice. Feeling again as much evenness on your back body as you can, right side to left side. If you are one side dominant, you in a sense have to back off on the stronger side to help the weaker side work a little harder. Nice. Keep your feet rooted. We're going for 10. And then rest down. Take a breath. Perfect. How you doing, okay? All right. Ball now is going to go between the ankles. Let's have you shift a little forward here. Perfect. And so I'm going to have Lainey have that ball right between her ankles. And again, if you're not quite sure, it should be directly between the heels and the ankle rather than the ankle and the shin, so that we have a nice firm press, which is really great for ankle stability, which for many of us, we're relying on our shoes to do that rather than the musculature of our feet and our lower legs, so definitely something to pay attention to. We want to make sure that the toes are pointing straight back rather than curling in towards each other. This also is something you want to pay attention to. It will also help with your arches. All right, pubis bone roots. Hip bones are slightly elevated, core is strong. We're going to try to lift in an extension of the hip flexor. So that means that when you lift the legs, it's coming from the hip socket, not from the knee. Hug on your ball. Exhale, pick the legs up. Inhale, lower the legs down, either drop or hover. We'll try for 10. As you lift, we're looking for no jerky movements. Also, minimal rolling of the ball between the ankles. So a good sign that you have a dominant leg is you feel the ball kind of wobbling between the ankles. Try to keep that under control, and it will help you develop a more symmetrical lower back body. So we're really focusing on gluteus maximus and hamstring here. Our glute max is important in that it's a stabilizing muscle for our pelvis. If you're a runner, it's going to help support you as you come forward. If you do any sort of standing or holding anything during the day, these are important muscles. But the pelvic floor is still strong as you're working this lower body. All right, so now we're going to take this into the curl. So as you exhale, flex the feet, curl your heels in towards your glutes. You can tell this is a hard one. And then point the toes and extend it out. So a little flexion and extension is also a good challenge in the work of the ankles. Exhale, flex, engage, lower front core is strong, and then extending out slowly. I think one thing I've learned from working with more functional movement and really paying attention to the tissues of our bodies is less is more. I myself was programmed to think the bigger the movement, the harder I push, the more I do, I must be benefiting more. But in all reality, the more we can fine tune and pay attention to the little things, those little things are in fact the big things. So good job. Exhale. If you were like me when I practice, I have to talk myself through it. So this one in particular, because I can't see my body, exhale, flex. Inhale, point. Until you feel as though you have that muscle memory. But then not relying on the muscle memory, make sure you're still thinking about it and feeling in your body. Nice job. After after your last one, you're gonna remain at 90 degrees. So I'm gonna help Lainey find her 90. Heel right above the hip. Now, if your hamstring retraction is a little weak, after a while you might notice that your heels are slowly falling away from your booty. Try to keep that 90 degrees. Anchoring your pubis bone, keeping your front core strong. Exhale, press the feet up. Inhale, lower them down, either drop or hover. Exhale, press up. Inhale, lower. Again, I'm looking for good stability, no rolling of the ball between the ankles, and also trying to keep the upper body as relaxed as possible. So I'm not feeling this jerk reaction with the upper body, when in fact I'm trying to use the muscles of the lower body. Second thing you want to pay attention to is that the knees do not splay out. We want to honor the sacrum as we keep developing that lower glute and hamstring. Good, exhale. And inhale, think about it. Exhale, raise the roof, press it up, and lower it down. Nice work. Raise the roof, press it up, lower it down. Nice job. Keep breathing. Almost there. And then last one here. Now stay lifted. We're going to raise the roof 20 pulses. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I'll take your ball for you, Lainey. And you can sit back onto the heels, give yourself a nice stretch. Great work. Open up the back body. Feel free, walk your torso one direction, your hips another. So we're going to come back down onto the sacrum here for our last few moves. And ball's going to go underneath the lower back. So we're going to work with a new one today, and we're going to work with a double leg press with a little bit of flexion. And now I'm not against flexion or folding the upper body, except some practices do too much of it, and we're already in a kyphotic state. And for many people, they're noticing a lot of neck and chest strain because they have very weak upper abdominals. And these upper abdominals, rectus abdominis transversus, which feeds under the rib cage, is an important area so that when you lift the head and shoulders, you feel no pain. So really being careful if you are doing flexion work, especially in a supine position, that you're doing it well and you're doing it correctly. All right, so pelvis is in neutral. Let's first get the legs lifted into position. So legs are going to come up. And as always, you have the option, keep the head down, don't do anything with the upper body. So the legs, let's get that acclimated first. You're going to press the legs out into extension. Pause there for a moment, Lainey. No external rotation. Keep them parallel. If it's helpful, set 2 balls between the thighs if that's going to help you recruit. Or as you come back to 90, you can press straight up to the sky. Either extension works as long as I can keep my core stable and steady and I'm not sinking into my lower back. Now to add the flexion. Hands come back behind the head. As you press your legs out, you're going to lift from your deep core and then lower it down as the knees pull back. Nice. Exhale, knit the ribs down, and inhale, pulling back. So my hands aren't pushing my head. My upper abdominals are. Are you able to really feel like that part's lifting? So there should be 0 strain in the neck. Something to really think about. This is why people, when they're practicing often Pilates or sit-ups, why their neck is straining, because they're not being taught how to properly use their core and where. It's not that movements are bad, it's just that we're often doing them the wrong way. Nice. As you lift, even though there's flexion, contract the pelvic floor up. So that it's kind of this way the core is contracting. Bottom to the top, top to the bottom. Flex through your heels, and if you're starting to fatigue in the hip flexors, lower back or neck, press the legs vertical, or maybe you're just going to do the legs or just do the upper body. You have so many options. I never want to see you just waiting around on your mat for the next movement. Good. Exhaling. Nice and steady. Lainey's working really hard to keep stable. It's not easy. And then after your last one, lower the feet down slowly. Extend your legs all the way out. And now drop your hips side to side here for a nice hip flexor stretch. Arms can just reach out overhead. Beautiful. And then you can come to the opposite side. Just a nice way to open up the psoas and hip flexors. So if you are hip flexor dominant, it is a work in progress. You want to listen to those cues when your body says that they're starting to use the wrong areas. All right, knees bent. If you remember back to the last few weeks, we're going to come up to tabletop. We worked with that frog position. So now this week we're going to use the ball between the ankles again. So ball goes between the ankles, and we're first just going to start with the butterfly. So that means Lainey's going to open her knees, and then exhale, hug on the ball between the ankles. Inhale, open. Exhale, squeeze the ball. Nice. Inhale, core is stable and strong. Exhale. Seems like a simple movement, but there's definitely subtleties we have to pay attention to. Can I be stable on the ball underneath my sacrum? Can I keep that ball between my ankles and move fluidly rather than kind of in a wiggly, sloppy motion? Am I able to keep my upper body relaxed? Nice job. Exhale, hug. Imagine this is like a spring. Excellent. And now stay here, and we're going to combine that double leg press into a full frog. So inhale, knees. Exhale, press. Nice. Pull it back. Inhale, knees. Exhale, press. Legs rotate to parallel when you press out. If 45 is too much, 90 is always an option or somewhere in between. It does not have to be all or nothing. Really working to remain steady. Breathe. Hug on the ball. Think about it. Shoulders are relaxed. Jaw is soft. Nice job. And then after your last one more. Slowly lower the legs down. And just give yourself a nice full body stretch. Reach it out. If you feel the need to drop the hips, you're welcome to. Again, get that little hip flexor extension. And our last movement, again, we're going to roll into a prone position. So onto our belly. We won't need the ball. Actually, you know what? Let's stick that ball between the ankles. I think that might serve us. Since we have it, we might as well use it. We're going to start now working upper body and lower body in combination. So Lainey's already set up. Her head's going to go right onto her hands, and her hands and head are going to lift like they're glued together. Shoulders stay relaxed. Trunk muscles are strong. Pubis bone is rooted. Let's start with the upper body. So we're lifting on the exhale, and then lowering down, inhale. Lifting the legs, exhale. Lowering, inhale. Lift from your trunk. Get the upper body up. Nice. And then down, engage, and lift. Make an effort to lift from your hip. Watch not to lift from your knee. Good. Exhale, hug on the ball. And then lower. Exhale, lift your upper body. And then lower. Exhale, lift, hug on the ball. Lower. Exhale, lift. And lower. We're going to try two more, then we're going to lift and hold. I know you're tired, you're doing a great job. This is not easy work when I make you be mindful. All right, now here we go. Both sides lift in combination. Exhale, let's lift and hold. Hold it. So the ball is going to keep you neutral and keep you from overusing those wrong muscles. Most people, when they lift the legs, they externally rotate and they end up using too much upper glute. I'm trying to keep you in the lower glute and in the hamstring, as well as using the upper glute and lower back, but in a much more balanced way. Hug on the ball. I'm going to tweak Lainey here because I know her kind of defaults here. She too has a little external rotation. Same thing I would do it, I probably would too. Let's hold here and breathe. 5. Let's now hug on the ball. 4, squeeze. 3, engage. 2, engage. And 1, lower down. Woo. All right, so back onto the heels. Nice work. Stretch your back body out. Breathe. And again, if you'd like to, walk your arms to one side. Press your hips to the opposite. Open, open, open. And then do the same thing to the opposite side. I'll get out of Lainey's way here. And then back to center. Excellent. Slowly roll yourself up. So you made it. You're at week 9. So again, I want to encourage you, if you can, to get on your mat 2, 3, 5 times a week. And if again you feel like week 9, maybe you're not quite ready to do it every single day, feel free to go back to any one of the weeks past and just encourage your body to work from your core so that what you're doing here is in fact making a difference of everything you're doing out there. For more information, visit my website at hopecorefitness.com, or we'll see you next week for week 10. From our heart to yours, from our soul to yours, namaste.